first law of thermodynamics is basically that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So it's the law of conservation of energy. So the big picture to me would be it makes sense to have natural resource energy priced in digital energy. I think of Bitcoin as digital energy. And so from the law of conservation of energy, that makes sense. You keep the loop closed. Pricing something in fiat is like pricing something in a ruler or measuring something in a ruler that continuously changes, right? I mean, the government's changed the length of a ruler. So you can't rely on that unit of account. Ultimately, I believe there will be a time when everything else is priced in Bitcoin, and that is the truest measure of account, Bitcoin.
Over the past few months, while U.S. investors were focused on inflation, the Federal Reserve's rapid interest rate hikes, recession, the regional banking crisis, and most recently the debt ceiling, some not-so-subtle moves were being made in several regions of the world, all with one great goal: to put an end to the reign of King Dollar. One particularly fascinating event was Chinese President Xi Jinping's three-day state visit to Russia, during which he held friendly talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in a show of unity. The visit, which occurred between March 20 and 22, was less than 2 weeks after China was able to broker a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, ending decades of hostility. On March 10, Iranian security official Ali Shamkhani and Saudi National Security Advisor Musaid ibn Mohammed shocked the world by signing an agreement restoring diplomatic relations between the two countries after years of hostility. China's success in mediating a peace deal between the Persian Shiites and Arab Sunnis is being considered by many as another sign that the United States is rapidly losing its influence in the Middle East. As the East Asian country draws ever closer to its vision of establishing a multipolar world order, it continues to threaten several U.S.-centric alliances and agreements. Among those agreements is the petrodollar, which has been in place for over 50 years. The petrodollar system, which cemented the dollar's place as the world's reserve currency, was established in the early 70s after the U.S. government, in exchange for providing economic aid to Saudi, received assurances that Riyadh would only accept dollars for its crude oil exports. In 1975, other members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, followed suit, and the petrodollar system was born. But that system is now under threat, and experts are certain it's only a matter of time before everything unravels. To begin with, China and the BRICS alliance have been able to win over Saudi, Iran, and 4 other OPEC member states. In addition, the alliance has been very clear that its main objective right now is to end the dollar's dominance. At the moment, it seems the coalition is more focused on dethroning the dollar than finding a suitable replacement for it. And considering the wide diversity among member states, there is little evidence to suggest that they would settle for the Chinese yuan or another member state's fiat currency. That's why popular Bitcoin strategist and analyst Greg Foss believes the leading crypto asset will be the ultimate winner in this discussion. Foss recently had an insightful discussion with Michelle Makori, the lead anchor and editor-in-chief at Kitco News, where he discussed how he projects Bitcoin to go from being denominated in the US dollar to being a suitable replacement for the fiat currency. Before we listen to Foss' detailed and persuasive argument for Bitcoin, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Also, ensure you drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
But let's start with what the petrodollar is, which is a very strategic advantage for the United States. So it's not surprising that some of the not-so-friendly nations of the United States are looking to destabilize the petrodollar. What does it mean when oil and natural gas are priced in US dollars? It means essentially that the USA can print energy. Think of that strategic advantage that has, and the flip side, the negative effects it has for a country like Russia. Russia is selling its valuable natural resource energy for US dollars that are debasing, firstly, but also that can be frozen. US Treasury assets get frozen and whatnot.
So it was selling its totally right. energy in dollars, but given the sanctions, it's now moved away from that.
There you go. But they're not the only nation that would be subject to those challenges. If we bring it back to the idea, and you did mention this, that Bitcoin is priced in fiat. Fiat is just a measuring stick. Your house is priced in fiat. The value of your house hasn't really changed, in that shelter still is equally valuable today as it was 30 years ago. The only thing that's happened is the price of that house measured in US dollars has increased because the unit of account, which is the US dollar, has decreased in value on a relative basis. So when we say that Bitcoin is priced in fiat, that's just a measuring stick. But I like to say 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. You know, there will be a time when fiat is actually priced in Bitcoin, not the flip side. Energy will maybe not be the first step because we're seeing the first steps right now, but energy will be the most important step. That will be the big event that I believe causes, you know, people to realize why Bitcoin is so darn cheap at a price that it's currently trading at today relative to where it could go, priced in fiat. Now, again, pricing something in fiat is like pricing something in a ruler or measuring something in a ruler that continuously changes, right? I mean, the government's changed the length of a ruler. So you can't rely on that unit of account. Ultimately, I believe there will be a time when everything else is priced in Bitcoin, and that is the truest measure of account, Bitcoin. If we go back to the principle that 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin, then we don't get confused with, you know, the relative trading pair. We call it a trading pair. So, you know, much like the Canadian dollar trades as a trading pair against the US dollar, the Bitcoin trades as a trading pair against the US dollar. That trading pair is on its way out, in my opinion. And that's why if you start with how about this? What is Bitcoin worth in a barrel of oil? Okay, so you have a volume of oil. How much of that barrel of oil does 1 Bitcoin buy? You've taken the US dollar out of the equation altogether. Does one Bitcoin equal, so you know, you could do the math in your head, $30,000 US per Bitcoin, 1 barrel of oil equals, you know, we're running with it, but that will change over time so that you measure Bitcoin in barrels of oil, not in fiat.
Foss believes Bitcoin's mathematical purity makes it the best replacement for the petrodollar system, and it's only logical that the asset which was created to end the giant fiat Ponzi scheme replaces the world's current greatest fiat currency. Though BRICS nations have touted other alternatives, including a gold-backed currency, that would also present the same problems as other fiat currencies. So would a gold-backed digital currency that can be easily manipulated by strong member states? That's why Foss believes the logical conclusion is Bitcoin, not just for pricing oil, but also for pricing other commodities like gold, natural gas, and silver. Let's get back to Foss' interview as he discusses his projected timeline for the switch from petrodollar to petrobitcoin.
Even with the development of the Bitcoin commerce, you know, you have places like El Salvador where you don't ever transact in US dollars. Now, it's only a small part of the population, but it's a toehold that will increase. So you have it increasing at the micro level. Does it happen at the macro level quickly? I don't know. But those sorts of macro events, they do happen. And when they happen, they change the whole world order. Have you ever tried to transfer a lot of gold across the international borders?
Other than that time I was smuggling.
There you go.
Brand.
No, well, let's just say that you could price it in gold, but that's ancient technology. And I'm not anti-gold.
But you could have gold-backed digital tokens on the block.
If you know where you're going to go from point A to point B, why take a detour? Go straight from point A to point B. Point B being price everything in a digital commodity that's transferable, portable, verifiable, everything that's beautiful about Bitcoin that you can't do with gold. I mean, how much gold currently exists in the vaults? We don't know. It's not auditable. And how much of that gold that we think exists in the vaults could be tungsten? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm not pitching gold. I am pitching Bitcoin, which is defendable by math and code, and you don't argue with that. It's proof of work, and it's the law of conservation of energy, which is nature, okay? You can't mess with mathematics, and you cannot mess with nature. Well, I have a trading expression, right? You give a target, but not a time. Because if you do both, you'll be wrong on one, right? So,
or not.
Well, you could, but I would just say it's a process, okay? So, you know, you look at my price target on Bitcoin, and then people ultimately ask, well, when's it going to get there? And I say, I can't give both. I can give a target, but not a time. I measure the target in today's dollars, and then by the time it gets there, we do the adjustment as to what it would be in today's dollars. The same thing. Why does it get to that price? Well, there's global macro events that include these types of events. I don't know when they'll happen. I'm just very comfortable projecting that they will happen. It's just the law of probabilities.
Greg Foss has presented a simple and logical argument that supports the switch to Bitcoin as a unit of measuring the value of commodities and even other fiat currencies. Even if the BRICS alliance goes for another fiat currency 10 or 20 years down the line, we would probably be discussing the same problems as we are currently doing for the US dollar. What are your thoughts on Foss' interview? Do you think Bitcoin can someday replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, be sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.